welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Simonet. I am a pro makeup artist and today I'm bringing you this makeup look right here. This is just a beautiful classic wing liner and red lip. This video is like half chit chat, get ready with me, story time, and half makeup tutorial. So in the complexion part, I'm talking to you about how I became a makeup artist, kind of my origin story. And then for the eyes and the lips, I'm giving you more of a tutorial so you can learn how to do it. If you want to see how I got this look and you want to get to know me a little bit, then just keep watching. So I already did my eyebrows, that's why they look so dramatic. And I prepped my skin with the e.l.f. Skin Holy Hydration Face Cream. I love this stuff. It is super moisturizing. I also applied a little bit of this Versed Mood Lighting Glow Drops. It's actually really nice. It was my first time trying it, but I really like it. It gave my skin like a nice subtle glow. For foundation, I'm going to be using my Fenty Eavesdrop Blurring Skin Tint. This stuff is so beautiful. If you have any questions about any of the products that I'm using, it will be likely on the screen, and if not, for sure it's going to be in the description bar. So today I'm going to talk about how I became a makeup artist. So I became a makeup artist when I was 19 years old. I'm going to be 29 this year in April. So it's going to be 10 years, but it'll be 10 years like at the beginning of next year, if that makes sense. Let me just start by saying that I never in a million years when I was younger thought I was gonna be a makeup artist. I didn't even consider doing anything in the beauty industry. Funny enough, my mother is a hairdresser. Actually, both of my parents are hairdressers, but I grew up only with my mother. And a lot of people would ask me if I was gonna do makeup for a living, to which I would always say, no, I'm gonna be a doctor. My mother was like, obviously approved of that message. She wanted me to be a doctor. That's what I wanted to do. She never told me not to be a hairdresser or never told me not to do something within that field, but she was definitely happy that I wanted to be a doctor. I was really good in school. I got really good grades. School was never really that hard for me. You know, school was like the #1 priority. Immigrant household, you know, your priority is to go to school and help with chores and just be a good kid. So that was my life, and I was really invested in becoming a doctor for a really long time. I'm talking, I knew I wanted to be a doctor from the time, I believe sometime like in middle school maybe. That's what I decided I wanted to do. So it's something I definitely took really seriously. I'll show that my senior year of high school, I was taking AP Chemistry, AP Biology, dual enrollment English, dual enrollment Math, and all of my college applications were for like pre-med, biology. I believe it was just like either pre-med or biology, for which depending on like what college I was applying to, right? So whatever, senior year comes around, I apply to all these programs and I get accepted to most of them. Through the end of my senior year, I had a boyfriend and we end up breaking up in the summer, but simultaneously I'm also working at a blow dry bar. This was my first job and I was a receptionist there. That's how I started. It's like two things happened at the same time. So I break up with this boyfriend and then I start to see some girl that worked with me. She was doing makeup one day at this blow dry bar and we didn't really do makeup there. That wasn't what we were supposed to be doing, but my boss at the time wanted just to make money, and so she figured if we can offer makeup, why not? So I see this girl doing makeup and that looks just so fascinating to me. Mind you, I wasn't allowed to wear makeup growing up. I'm like, wow, this is insane. This is so fun. Look how cool that looks. And I had no experience with makeup before, besides maybe doing my makeup at my like 10th grade dance recital. But me, being the weirdo that I am, I told my boss at the time, hey, I know how to do makeup, I can do that. I tell her this and she's like, oh really? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh cool, so why don't you bring your makeup kit? What makeup kit? Why don't you bring your makeup kit and do like a trial on me, and if you do a good job then I'll let you do makeup here. I was like, oh, bet. So I'm like frantically searching, buying makeup, grabbing from like my own personal things because I had like started wearing a little bit of makeup. So I'm buying these like little $5 e.l.f. palettes, $3 e.l.f. palettes, and I'm like, yeah, let me put this kit together so that I can do her trial. She wasn't even my complexion. She's actually like Indian. She was Indian and East African, so she definitely had way browner skin than me. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it. And also keep in mind, YouTube was barely starting at that time, so there weren't many resources for me. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna play it by ear. I'm gonna do this girl's makeup and we're gonna be fine. So I do the trial, right? Trial. It came out fine. Literally came out fine. It wasn't amazing, but it was fine. To this day, I don't know. Like, I guess that's when I realized, like, maybe I have a natural knack for this. So I've always been very like left brain and right brain. So I've been really good in school, but I've also been pretty artistic. Like I can draw and paint. I can't do other artistic things like singing and dancing. So mind you, I'm 19 years old. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to school for some sort of pre-med. And then I realized, oh, I kind of like makeup and I'm going through a breakup, and now I'm just having like these impulsive feelings. And my whole life, because I've never been a risk taker, I'm very much a Taurus. I don't like to get out of my comfort zone. I don't like to take a lot. My camera died, so I forgot what I was saying, but I think I was saying that I'm a very like fixed sign. I am scared, or have been scared, of taking risks, especially back then. I like my comfort. I'm very much a Taurus. Whenever I have made any sort of life-changing decision, it's always been like an impulse. It's always been like literally from one day to the next. And that might be my Aries moon, because my Taurus self doesn't want to be uncomfortable. So between a breakup, me realizing that being a doctor takes a lot of sacrifice. It's not just about being smart. It takes a lot of sacrifice. I had volunteered at hospitals and I was just like, nah, this just isn't for me. So I decided I'm not gonna be a doctor anymore. I'm going to attempt to do makeup. But at no point in this entire situation of deciding that I wanted to do makeup did I think that I wasn't gonna finish school. I did want to finish school. I did want to have my degree. I think it was the reason why I wanted to get my degree wasn't really just because of a just in case. I think it was mainly because I just wanted to have that personal accomplishment, and I knew that also it would make my mom really happy and it would make her really proud, and I wanted to be able to do that. So it was part for her, part for me. But at the end of the day, I have no regrets, and I'm really happy that I did go to school. I ended up getting my degree in public relations. So I did my first 2 years at community college, but it was an honors program. So you had to have a 3.5 GPA to be in the school, to be in that program. Otherwise you would get kicked out. So I did that, and I was working full-time the entire time. Throughout all college, I worked full-time. And I was working at the blow dry bar, and that's a whole different story. Once I got into working at the blow dry bar as a makeup artist, I did start like my practice. I did start with clients there, but that was a story for a whole nother day. I can get more in depth about that, but basically my old boss was like terrible, and she took advantage of me in many ways. So I did end up leaving that job. Once I graduated from my associates, I left my job at the blow dry bar once I finished my associates, and I was like in between jobs, and I was working like as a receptionist at another hair salon and also like as a makeup artist. And for a while I had been applying to work at Maxx, and I kept getting like ignored, turned down, ignored, turned down, ignored, turned down, but I was not giving up. So finally, towards the end of my associates, I did actually get hired as a freelancer at MAC Cosmetics. And when you're a freelancer, you don't have like a set position, and you don't work like at a set store. So I told you guys I wanted to be a doctor, and I changed my mind basically the summer going between high school and college. And I was working at the blow dry bar, and then I went to college and I was working there at the blow dry bar full-time while I was in college. Left that job as soon as I was done with my associates. But in the meantime, before leaving, I was already looking for a job at MAC, because like back in the day, that was like where you wanted to work. If you wanted to do makeup, if you wanted to be that girl, you wanted to work at MAC. Not even Sephora, it was like MAC. If you could get a job at MAC, you were cool, and you were like amazing at makeup. So I would apply so many times, not even apply, I would basically dress in all black, and I would show up to different counters with a resume, and I would have my makeup done. I would look really good. I would try to make myself look like I already worked there. And no one would pay attention to me. Literally, no one would pay attention to me. I looked really young, I guess, but there were other young people working there, but no one paid attention to me. And I just kept insisting. I kept showing up. I would go to the counter sometimes, not even just to drop off a resume, but I would just go to just look around, talk to the managers, talk to the employees, just try to like, you know, have my face like seen. And I told myself like, I'm gonna get this job. I can do this. Up to that point, I had already been accomplishing so much, doing so much at such a young age. And I already started my journey of taking risks in life. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. If I've done everything up to this point on my own, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna make it happen and I'm gonna work at Mac. Where I was doing my associates, it was in downtown Miami, and there was a Macy's there, and that Macy's had a Mac counter. So I would go in there, I would like try to shop, you know, with the little money that I had left over, after like paying bills and tuition and all of that. I would try to buy some Mac makeup, and I would try to, you know, let the manager know that I was interested in getting a job there and that I had already some experience doing makeup, and I had like some sort of retail experience because at the blow dry bar I did like have to sell like hair products and things of that sort. And I was just really good at talking to customers, because my entire job did revolve around like customer service, and I was starting to become a little bit more confident doing makeup, because at first I was faking the confidence, and then like the confidence started actually coming organically. So I would like tell her and she would kind of just brush me off. I don't know if maybe she thought I was like really young, but I was like, hello. And then I got tired of her kind of brushing me off. So one day I was like, can I just show you my work? I was like, can I please just show you my work? Like, I have some experience doing it. Like, I'm not just talking out of my ass, you know? And she was like, fine. So I showed her pictures of my makeup, and mind you, it wasn't like anywhere near what I do now, but it was pretty good for back then. And especially for having like no training, being completely self-taught. And she was like, oh wow, this is actually pretty good. And I was like, I've been trying to tell you. So then she tells me to come in for an interview. We do the interview. I'm officially a freelancer at MAC Cosmetics. I end up leaving the blow dry bar, and I have that job at MAC and that job at the other hair salon as a receptionist. So now I'm juggling 2 jobs, and it is summer. So summer in between my associates, like graduating from my associates and going into my bachelor's, like the rest of my bachelor's. So I was working both jobs at the time, and I was like busting my ass. I was saving up money because I did have to pay for tuition. Like working really hard, trying to make it so that I can get a permanent position, which means you actually have a set counter. When you're a freelancer, they can move you around to different counters, and you can do up to 29 hours a week, I believe. Yeah, as long as you're not like stepping into full-time. And you can go to like any counter that needs extra artists. So I was moving around. At one point I was taking like a 3-hour-long bus ride to get to one of the malls so that I can do some shifts, but I was just so eager to learn. I would teach myself things about the company. I would like sit down and write down every shade, every price of every product in a notebook just so that I could remember it. And whenever I got to a specific counter, the moment I got there, I would like check to see where everything was, so that if a customer came to buy things, like I knew where everything was and I didn't have to constantly ask the employees, so that they didn't get like annoyed. I basically just really wanted to get a permanent position, so I wanted to stand out. I can't remember right this second how it happened that I ended up leaving the job at the hair salon and just sticking to MAC. I really cannot remember, but I do remember working an event at MAC, and somebody told me, hey, there's a position open for a 24-hour at MAC South Beach on Ocean Drive. And I was like, oh, it's mine. So I remember I walked up to one of like the regional managers. So she like managed the managers. I basically just introduced myself and told her that I was interested in the position. She like asked me a little bit about myself. I told her, and then she told me that I had to do the makeup interview. So I don't know how things are now, but when you got a job as a freelancer at Mac, you didn't have to do a makeup interview. You just had to do like a verbal interview, like just for any normal job. But if you want to be a permanent artist, you have to do a makeup interview. And one is with the store manager of whichever store you're applying for. I think that if you pass that interview, you then do an interview with the trainer of your region. When I was at that event and I was talking to the regional manager about wanting that position, she said that I had to do the makeup interviews. And the trainer at the time was there, and he said to her, I've already seen her work. She doesn't have to do an interview with me. She can just interview with the manager, and if she passes it with her, she's good with me. So whatever, I get scheduled for that interview and I meet the manager, I do my interview, it went great. I took a friend, did her makeup, blah, blah, blah. And it went well and I got the job. So at this point is when I left my other job, I believe, because I was like, okay, well now I have a permanent position at Maxx, so I can only handle now one permanent job with school, because I was still taking like full-time classes, like 4 to 5 classes a semester. I worked at Mac a total of about 2.5 years. So I did my time at Mac, and while I was there, I was really focused on obviously graduating school and getting good grades. So balancing that was a lot, but I did it. But at the same time, I was also very focused on thinking about the future and thinking about the fact that I wanted to be a freelance makeup artist. I was already like thinking about what I was gonna do. I started creating my website. I was practicing on friends. I was taking clients. A lot of the people that I met at Mac were like trying to take my number, hiring me separately so that I could do their makeup. So I started building up my clientele. So during this time, I was working at Mac, starting my freelance career, like solidifying it a little bit more, and I was in school. So if you guys want a story time about what it was like to work at Mac, I can definitely do that in a different video, but I don't want to bore you guys with the details and just get all over the place. So I was doing all of that, and then I graduate college in 2016, August 2016. And by this time I was like over it working at Mac. I just like didn't want to work there anymore. And my mom had asked me to come help her open her hair salon. My mother, like I said, is a hairdresser, and she's had several hair salons, but she had this really big project and this really nice hair salon she wanted to open in this area. And I said, okay, fine. So I quit working at Mac. I think I had gone back to work at the other salon, not the blow dry bar, but the other salon, and work at Mac at the same time, like when I had just graduated, because I was done with school and I wanted like the extra money and I needed to pay bills, and I was like living on my own. So I think I had gone back to work there. But so then my mom asked me to open the salon with her. So I quit both of my jobs and I went to go help my mom and run the salon for her and just like be the manager and everything and be the makeup artist. But I realized that even though I love my mother, I love her to death, I don't want to work for anyone, not even her. And I ended up leaving just for like the sake of our relationship. I just realized like it wasn't for me. So I stopped working with my mom, and I'm like, okay, but I need to like make solid money. So at this point I had already started building my clientele. I was already like booking mad weddings, and I was working with other makeup artists, and I was getting clients through Instagram, through word of mouth. But I wasn't like fully booked all the time. So not working with my mom was definitely scary, because I was like, okay, so how do I make sure that I'm making enough to pay bills, you know? But at this point, where are we? I was no longer working with my mom. I was no longer working at Mac, and I was no longer working at that other hair salon. So all that I had left was my freelancing. And that was so scary to do, like to just be like, oh shit, like I can only rely on this right now, because I didn't just want to get like a random job that had nothing to do with makeup. Like I am too much of a comfortable person and too much of a determined person and too much of a material girl to work jobs that have nothing to do with what I love. So I honestly worked my butt off to get clients, and that's exactly what I did. And I just kept growing and growing and growing and putting myself out there on Instagram and having a website and telling people to recommend me. I started offering eyebrow services, lash lift services, hair services, like, you know, like blow dries and curls and updos. And I just was hustling. At one point I did work again for a few months at another blow dry bar, same like blow dry bar chain, but different location. And that lasted less than a year because I got let go, because even though I told her I only had weekday availability because I wanted to have my weekends open for weddings and such, she was fine with that, and then she wasn't. So she let me go, and I was like, wow, this is it. Like, I'm really gonna have to figure this out. I'm really gonna have to just make this my 1000% full time. I have bills to pay, so we're gonna have to make this happen. So I didn't have a plan B, and here I am. Every decision I've ever made in life has been made out of impulse, or I've literally just been like pushed and forced. And I'm really happy that that is how it's turned out. Now I can go in depth into what my experience was like working at Mac. I can go in depth into how I established myself as a freelance makeup artist and how I started building clientele and how I got my name like out there, or have gotten myself like to a point where clients find me. But we can do that in another video. So now that you got my makeup artistry origin story, I'm gonna do the tutorial part where I'm gonna show you the wing liner and the red lip. Taking my Profusion Cosmetics Nudes palette. I got this at Walmart. It's really nice. And I'm taking this bone color right here, and I'm just applying it all over my lid. More than anything, like on the inner part of the lid. But you just wanna make sure that your entire lid is set. I'm taking this color right here. It's like a soft warm brown, and I'm just applying it all across my crease, but I'm concentrating most of it on the outside, but I am going from like inner corner to outer corner. And then I'm just taking a tiny bit of this color right here on the same brush, and I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna keep it just on the outside. And then you can go back to this shade right here and just buff over that so that it looks nice and blended. I want to keep the bottom like kind of bare, so I'm just taking a little bit of that soft brown and I'm applying it to my lower lash line. I normally really smoke out my lower lash line, but I just kind of want to keep it a little bit bare and just focus on the liner. For my inner corner, I'm taking this shimmery shade right here, just applying it to my inner corner. And that's literally it for eyeshadow. Now we're just gonna do liner. So you have a couple of options. You can just do a classic black wing with like a liquid liner or a gel liner. You can do a wing with just eyeshadow. But today I'm going to be using two things. I'm gonna be using this new NYX Epic Smoke liner, and it's in the color Black Smoke. So it's a new product that it came out, and it's like this liner, and it has a little smudging brush at the end. And I'm gonna also be using the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner. This stuff is really good. So first with the NYX one, it's a pencil. So I'm gonna kind of draw my wing, and then you'll see what I'm doing. Basically drawing a small wing, and then I'm gonna smudge it out. And that's gonna be like a nice smudgy base for my liquid liner. I'm only really taking this like halfway in because I'm gonna smudge it a little bit. I don't like my eyes to look too round. I want them to look a little bit more almond shaped. So if I go in all the way to like the inside and it's way too thick, it's gonna make my eyes look round. So now I'm just taking the little smudge brush and I'm just smudging this and just kind of like diffusing it. It's my first time using it, but I think this product is pretty cool because otherwise, if I didn't use this, I would be using like an eyeshadow, either a brown or like charcoal black eyeshadow. And this is what it looks like. And I'm kind of bringing it in a little bit because it's just gonna be nice and diffused. I'm not worrying about it being too perfect because we can just clean that up with concealer. Now we're just gonna take the Wet n Wild eyeliner, and I'm gonna draw a wing, but it's gonna be concentrated on the outside and very thin on the inside. To be honest, sometimes I kind of just leave the inside bare, but sometimes I like to connect it to the front. So it just really depends on how I feel. I know some people only do like literally from the middle out. The key is that you don't want to do it as thick as the liner that's smudged. You want to do it thinner so that that smudged liner is kind of peeking through. And that's it. The eyeshadow and the liner is done. I told you it was super easy. So I'm just taking a little bit of my concealer on a flat brush and I'm just really carefully cleaning up that liner just to make it super crisp. So all that's left is applying mascara and lashes. I'm gonna apply lashes, put some mascara on the top and a lot of mascara on the bottom. For a look like this, I really recommend a lash that is more tapered on the outside. You can see these are like thinner in the front or shorter in the front, and then they taper a little bit longer just to give you that more almond cat-like effect. So I'm going with the Kiss Pompadour lashes. These are really cute. I have some other ones on my Amazon that I really like that are also very cat-like, so you can check those out. The eyes are done. I put the lashes on and I did mascara off camera. For lips, we're doing a red lip. Super classic combination, black wing, red lip. I'm gonna be using my ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the color Hoopty. And this is the Fenty Beauty Stunna Lip Paint in the color Uncensored. I typically like to use a lip liner that is a little bit darker and even more brown sometimes. Sometimes I go more burgundy, sometimes I go more brown than my actual lipstick, just to give a little bit of dimension. I like to fill in the lip just a little bit. This red is so beautiful. So once I have the lipstick on, I just go in around the edges with concealer and make sure the lines are really crisp. And if I have to touch up the lip liner, I do that. And this is the final look. Such a beautiful, classic, timeless look. Hopefully you learned something about makeup. Maybe you learned something about me. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much and my story made sense. I felt like I was rambling forever. Make sure you look at the description for all product details, brushes, shades, everything is there. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on my socials. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys in my next video.